Okay, so I'm on top of the roof of our 2024 Forest River Surveyor, and I'm just inspecting the roof material right now because where I pulled it had a branch that was a little lower than what I prefer, and it made contact with this part of the roof. So I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't torn. While I'm up here, I'm also inspecting the sealant material. Make sure that nothing's cracking or nothing's opening to the point to where something can get in. Last thing you want, and the number one thing that will destroy your RV, is this seal right here coming apart so water can get into it. Now, just because your RV is relatively new does not mean that this is an area you can skimp out on. It doesn't mean that it's not worth coming up here just to inspect all these seals to make sure that there's no cracking taking place and there's no way for water to intrude into the inside of your RV. Now, I try to get up here at least 4 to 5 times a year so I can just see what's going on. Now, this Furrion Chill Cube was something that we had installed, and you know, it's always a good idea to come up, check around your AC units, see what's going on there, inspect your panels to see if they're dirty, if you might need to clean them off. I also can look at the top of the Brookstone next to us as well and inspect that. But you do want to clean the top of your RV. You don't want to do anything super crazy, but really just, you know, some nice mild detergent soap, some RV roof specific cleaning material. Get up here with the soft bristle brush and just clean it off. It will go a long way, and while you're up here cleaning it, you can check your solar wiring if you have it. You can check your panels. You can see if anything's too dirty. You can see if seals are coming loose and opened up. This is one area that if you're afraid of heights, find someone who's not. Hire a company that can come out for a few $100, get on your roof, inspect it, look for areas that could potentially lead to your RV possibly having major issues in the future. This is one area I can't talk about enough, because this is probably the single most important aspect to your RV maintaining its structural integrity on top of the frame. Your sidewalls, your front cap, your roof material, all of that. You do not want moisture getting in. And if you aren't inspecting your roof, something really small can turn into something big, and it would never have turned into something big if you took care of it while it was really small. That's some sound advice that I really recommend people who have an RV take. Don't let small things turn into huge things only because you neglected to get on top of your RV and inspect the things that you should inspect routinely. So if you've shopped around and looked at any RV that's relatively new, you have likely come across some floor plans that have these things in them. This is essentially a pop-up power station, and there's all sorts of different brands. Some of them have wireless charging on top. This one doesn't, because I don't actually use wireless charging on my phone. I have a magnetic plate on the back of it, so it blocks it anyways. But we're installing this in the Surveyor simply because we now have an inverter in here, and this is going to give us some capability and functionality we haven't had in the past. Okay, so I picked this up off of Amazon. I think I paid under $30 for it. It's a lot less expensive than I thought. There are some brands that are like near $100, but this one is going to work perfectly fine for our application. It has a USB-C, 2 standard USB-As, and 3 110 outlets on it, which you can see all 3 right there. And it simply slides down into this sleeve. It clamps onto your counter, and then this piece right here springs down so you can grab the little handle and pull it out. Pretty cool, actually, and it's relatively easy to install as long as you have a spot for it. So the spot that I chose is actually on the left side nightstand. I guess if you're laying in the bed, that would be the left side. So the left side nightstand, and it's on this table. I measured the length or depth of these drawers and determined that these drawers only go into about here, and I had plenty of space behind here. I definitely looked behind everything to make sure that once the hole went through and once this dropped down into place, because it's about 1 foot long, that it's not going to interfere with anything down there, and thankfully it doesn't. It'll come close, but it definitely won't contact anything, or anything that can't even flex out of the way, even if it does make slight contact with it. But it's pretty much a straight shot down, and if you saw the video where I installed the inverter in the pass-through compartment up front, you can see I hung it up top, and I should be able to snake this cord directly to that inverter, which is tied to the 280 amp hour battery that we put up front. So this is a really simple project as long as you take measurements and you make sure that you have the depth you're looking for. Now, of course, to add complication to my project, the hole saw that I had, the specific size bit, which was perfect, broke. at the very last minute. It basically wallowed out the area that the clamp slides into the hole saw, and there was no way of fixing that, so I used a hammer to work it out the rest of the way, which worked out just fine because the majority of the cut made it through, and it was only a really small piece that didn't. Did a little bit of damage underneath the counter, but nothing that's noticeable or even really matters at the end of the day. So yeah, it worked out, but you know, it's kind of one of those things where, man, I just wish I had like a second set of every type of tool like that, just in the event something breaks. I have a quick way of swapping it out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop this in there just to make sure it fits, which it should. I can probably do that on camera. And then that drops all the way down like that. This is the retaining ring. They said to use this as a template for your hole, but instead I just used the hole saw as a template for it, simply because I knew it was the right size. This is going to go up from the bottom, which is going to be probably the more challenging thing to get in place. This drawer is harder to get out than you think, because they put a little retaining bracket right here, which I can unscrew. Then I'm going to hopefully be able to get this drawer out, reach my arm back under there, and try to get this on the bottom of the socket so I can tighten it in place. But first things first, I'm going to see if I can... Well, actually, I got to put that on first before I run the wire. So I'm going to see if I have a path for the wire, and then hopefully we'll be able to tighten that in place. And in the pass-through compartment here, you can see the 700-watt Renogy inverter that we have up here. And this is the slot that I'm hoping I'll be able to pass the wire through and plug it right into the end right here. This Renogy also has an internal on-off switch that I can remotely connect to it, which I might end up doing. But for this video, I just want to make sure I can get the wire to it and get the thing retained in place. Okay, so I pulled it back out, I got the cord unwound, and I was able to get this drawer out further by simply removing that little piece of angle bracket. And I should be able to reach in there and do what I need to do. It's really going to be just routing the cord up through the space right up there to get it to that front compartment so I can plug it in. So first thing I need to do is be sure I put this retaining ring on the bottom of it and feed the cord through it. So we're going to do that first. And to do that, I should just be able to drop the wire through here. And then I'm going to fish it out through this bottom space here. I want to make sure that my plugs are in the orientation I want them to be, which is right there. I'm just going to fish that wire out and feed this up it so I can clamp that in place. Okay, so basically stuffed my arm in here, reached underneath there. It wasn't too difficult at all, just a little painful rubbing up against this, because I can't pull this drawer all the way out because it hits the slide right here. I could pull the slide in a little bit, it might help, but I was able to reach it. And this springs down, and there you go. Very, very cool. This is, again, something that is going to look really, really nice in here. It's going to give us some flexibility that we currently don't have by basically giving us a 110 outlet off of the inverter plugged into the batteries, as opposed to all the other outlets needing to be lit up. That's a really good place to run a small extension cord for the small dehumidifier in here if I want to run it just off the battery and solar. And again, gives us just some flexibility that we didn't have before. And it looks really nice. Nice and flat, out of the way. Not blocking any drawers or anything. So let's see if we can fish this wire up to the front and get it connected to the inverter. Okay, now that we have the wire fed back there, this panel actually unscrews with those 4 screws. 2 right here, and the other 2 are hidden right there. There we are. Once you do that, this panel moves out of the way, and I should be able to access that wire from back here somewhere. Let me see. I don't know if I can push that out of the way a little bit. You're seeing this for the first time, as I am. So, I don't directly see access except through that hole right there. So I'll have to push the wire over and get it through there, which shouldn't be any problem at all. Okay, back inside again, pulled out this drawer. I brought the wire down out underneath that panel, and you can see the access hole right here, which lets me push it through there, which is behind the water heater, and I should be able to directly access it through the pass-through now. Okay, now that we have the wire pushed through there, I can actually see it right here. There we go. I'm going to feed it up through here, like that. Put my panel back in place. Like that. And then I should just be able to plug it in right here. There we go. Let me go ahead and re-secure this panel and get back inside. Okay, so I just powered on the inverter. You can see the little light on right there. Let's get inside and see if we have power, which there's no reason we shouldn't, so let's check it out. As you can see, the 30 amp cord is disconnected, and I can close this door now. I angled it this way just a hair, just for easier access. Now I have my little dehumidifier. I'll still run it in the sink. If anything, I'll just run a short extension cord to it. And this will give me the ability, hopefully, to power the dehumidifier off of the battery. There you go. Lit up. And it is working. Very, very cool. Super affordable. Very easy to do as long as you have the space, you measure for the space, and you have an access point to get to your inverter. So from this point, we've added 110 power to the inside of the RV now from the inverter, even though the inverter is not tied to the main power center. So basically the inverter and the battery is powering just this one little pop-up power station, which is really good because I have USB, 3 outlets on here, everything we need to charge phones, tablets, and really do whatever we would need to do, all the way up to 700 watts, which is more than enough for something small like this, and definitely going to come in handy in the event there's a power outage and we just don't have power to the dehumidifier to keep it running. This will help keep it more dehumidified and dry, and it allows me to actually move the RV to other parts of the property without needing to constantly worry about the humidity level in here. And again, just having 110 power in here is really, really nice. I'll put a link in the description of this video to this product if this is something you may be interested in. Super excited that I was able to put this in, and again, utilize the inverter that's tied to that 280 amp hour battery, which is really going to give me the power I need inside of the RV without an excessive amount of power that I don't need, if that makes sense. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.